New Japanese studies are revealing some unnerving ways the coronavirus can spread. A video released from one of the studies shows how infectious the virus can be through droplets in the air or on surfaces. CNN's Brian Todd shows us.
A disturbing altered reality demonstration of how coronavirus spreads. Medical experts teamed up with Japan's public broadcaster NHK to gather 10 participants. The setting, a simulation of buffet-style eating in a cruise ship's dining area or restaurant. The first participant rubs his hands with a special fluorescent liquid, only visible under black light. He's simulating an infected person who coughed into his hands. 9 other people join him, put food onto their plates, and proceed with a communal meal. After 30 minutes, the room goes dark. Ultraviolet light shows that fluorescent liquid the man had rubbed on his hands is now on several surfaces. Pitchers, tongs. His residue had spread to silverware, glassware. 3 people had gotten it on their faces.
Even some basic rules of dining, like buffet-style eating, we might have to reconsider that and go back to individual servings.
After one round, the team in Japan did a second, cleaner version of the same experiment. Had people wash hands, separated dishes, and replaced utensils more frequently. After 30 minutes of that test, no one had picked up the residue.
If that initial event where that person had the contamination in their hand had used hand hygiene prior to touching that utensil, that would have prevented the whole line from becoming contaminated.
Another new study shows how this invisible enemy strikes when we talk to each other. Researchers at NIH and the University of Pennsylvania found that one person talking loudly for 1 minute in a confined space could generate at least 1,000 droplets. Into a dark box lit with lasers, a researcher speaks for 25 seconds, repeating one phrase. Stay healthy. Inside the box, thousands of droplets can be seen here as streaks in the air, stirred by a fan which is then turned off. The clock up top shows how slowly the droplets dissipate. Some linger for more than 12 minutes. Those researchers say in real life, that's plenty of time for infected particles to be inhaled by others and cause new infections.
We're in a loud restaurant, there's a fair bit of noise, people are speaking loudly, there's going to be lots of microdroplets of this virus in the atmosphere.
One expert says both of these studies show that for the foreseeable future, we'll have to build safeguards everywhere to ward off this unseen threat.
Whether that's a flashing light or a piece of tape on the floor or a crossbar that comes down or what have you, some sort of a reminder for somebody to say, you can't do this until you've practiced hand hygiene. You can't come into this establishment unless you have a mask in place.
Dr. Mark Rupp says these studies are also a reminder of how easy it is for all of us to have that momentary lapse in judgment, that instant where you haven't washed your hands before interacting with others or you're not wearing a mask. And he says they show just how dangerous that lapse in judgment can be because the virus will exploit that in seconds. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.